Today in this video we are going to learn about the methods of dispensing the suspensions. The suspensions are divided into 4 main types according to its method of dispensing. What that means: suspensions containing diffusible solids, suspensions containing indiffusible solids, suspensions containing precipitate forming liquids, and suspensions produced by chemical reactions. Okay, all these are all the various types of suspensions. Okay, so we will see one by one clearly. First, start with suspensions containing diffusible solids. So before learning this, let us see what are the diffusible solids first. So here there are certain insoluble powdered substances which are light in weight and readily mix with water and remain suspended throughout the liquid for sufficient long time after gentle shaking. Okay, such type of solids are called diffusible solids here. Okay, so example for this type of substances are calcium carbonate, light magnesium carbonate, magnesium trisilicate, rhubarb powder, and light kaolin. Okay, let us see the general method of dispensing such diffusible solids. So for this, first carefully tap the container first. After that, finely powder the solid ingredients and then mix the insoluble powder in a mortar and add enough vehicle to make a smooth cream here. Okay, so after preparing that cream, what we'll do means add more of the vehicle to make it a pourable liquid. After that, examine the suspension carefully, and if it contains a foreign particle, stain through a muslin cloth into a tiered container here. After that, rinse the mortar and pestle with a sufficient volume of the vehicle until they are quite clear. After that, transfer the rinsing solution to the bottle. Add any liquid ingredients we should have to add here. After that, add more of the vehicle to produce the required volume and then mix thoroughly by shaking the bottle. Okay, this is how we will prepare the suspensions. So let us see one example here. So prepare and dispense the following suspension. In this formula, it has a light kaolin of 12 grams and light magnesium carbonate of 3 grams and sodium bicarbonate 3 grams, peppermint water add up to 90 ml. Okay, make a mixture. This is the formula given here. So direction for use is 1 dose to be taken 3 times a day. Okay, so how we will prepare this suspension means method. So first mix the weighed quantities of the light kaolin, light magnesium carbonate, sodium bicarbonate in a mortar. Okay, all the solids are needed to be added into a mortar here. After that, measure out of 70 ml of peppermint water. Out of this, add a small amount to the powder and triturate thoroughly until a smooth paste is formed here. After that, then dilute it with a remaining quantity of the peppermint water. Stain through muslin piece. Add more of the peppermint water to produce the 90 ml suspension here. Okay, transfer the suspension to a bottle, label here, and then dispense properly. Okay, that is how we will prepare the suspension here. Okay, and the next type of suspension is suspensions containing indiffusible solids. Okay, for this also we will see the general method of preparation and one example. So indiffusible solids are those substances which do not dissolve in water and do not remain evenly distributed in the vehicle for a sufficient long time to ensure the uniformity of the dose. So what we will do means we need to incorporate some suspending agent here. Okay, for this type of formulations. These are the indiffusible solids which are used externally. For this example is the calamine, hydrocortisone, sulfur precipitated zinc oxide. And solids for internal use for this example is aspirin, aromatic chalk powder, phenobarbital, sulfur dimidines, succinyl, sulfur thiozoles. So these are all the examples for the indiffusible solids here. So there is some type of method of preparation for to dispense such type of indiffusible solids here. We will see that one. So first we will see the general method of preparation here by using a compound trachan powder as a suspending agent here. So what is the method means? Finely powder all the ingredients first mix them together in a motor and add a compound traction powder also. After that, measure 3/4 of the vehicle and triturate to form in a smooth cream here. After that, examine the suspension carefully, and if it contains any foreign particles, stain through a muslin piece into a tired bottle, and then rinse the motor with a small quantity of the vehicle to clean it. After that, transfer the rinsing solution to the bottle and add any liquid ingredients here. After that, add more of the vehicle to produce the required volume. So that is the general method of preparation here. So by adopting this method, how to formulate the suspension means we will see in one example formula here. First, prepare and dispense the following suspension. It contains bismuth carbonate, prepared chalk, kaolin, tincture catechu, water. Add up to 30 ml. So prepare a mixture here. Send 4 doses. Direction: 1 dose to be taken 3 times a day. So that is the formula given here. How to formulate this suspension by using the above method of preparation is: first, mix the weighed quantities of the bismuth carbonate, prepared chalk and kaolin first, and then add 0.6 grams of compound powder of tragacanth and then mix thoroughly. After that, measure 20 ml of water, add small amount of the water and triturate to form a smooth cream here. Add the remaining portion of the water, stain through a muslin cloth piece. Add tincture catechu in the center of the cream with a continuous trituration. So after that, add more of the water to produce the 30 ml and then transfer the suspension into a bottle label and then dispense it. Okay, this is how we have to dispense the suspension here. And next type of suspensions is suspensions containing precipitate forming liquids. Okay, there are certain liquids preparations that is precipitated on addition to the water here. So for example, compound benzoin tincture, benzoic tincture, meth tincture, tolu tincture. So all these are all the examples. So these liquids are not only insoluble in water, but they form an indiffusible precipitate, particularly when salts are present. Okay, so they contain a resinous matter, and when it is mixed with water, it leads to the precipitation of resin and may stick to the sides of the bottle, which will be difficult to re-diffuse by gentle shaking also. So to prevent this, a protective colloid is dispersed in the vehicle before tincture is added. Okay, so here tragacanth nucleus, that is 1/4 of the total volume, or compound tragacanth powder, that is 2 grams per 100 ml, is commonly used as a protective colloid here. Okay, so we will see how to dispense such type of precipitate forming liquids is. So there is small method of dispensing using a compound tragacanth powder and also by using a tragacanth nucleus here. First, general method of dispensing using a compound tragacanth powder is need to be studied here first. In this, finely powder the indiffusible solid first and then diffusible solid in the mortar, and then mix them with a compound tragacanth powder in a mortar here. After that, measure the half of the vehicle and incorporate a small amount of it to the powder with trituration until a smooth cream is formed. Then add the remaining part of the vehicle. Okay, after that, measure the precipitate forming liquid in a dry measure and add it in a slow steam in the center of the cream with a rapid stirring here. Okay, and then dissolve the solid ingredients if present, okay, in a sufficient amount of the vehicle out of the remaining half of the vehicle, and then add it slowly with a constant stirring to the cream to avoid the local high concentration that may neutralize the effect of the suspending agent. Okay, after that, examine the contents of the mortar critically for the foreign particles. If these are present, stain the suspension through a muslin piece into a bottle and then add more of the vehicle to rinse the mortar and then transfer the rinsing to the bottle here. Okay, add any liquid ingredients if there means we need to add it this time. After that, add more of the vehicle to produce the required volume. So that is how we will dispense the suspension here by using the compound tragacanth powder. So another method of dispensing using a tragacanth nucleus is So Tragacan mucilage is used when the vehicle is water or a chloroform water. Okay. So first mix the Tragacan mucilage with the equal volumes of the vehicle and then measure the precipitate forming liquid in a dry measure and pour slowly into the center of the mucilage with a constant stirring. After that, dissolve the solid substances, if any, in about 1/4 of the vehicle and then mix it with the above mixture. So after that, examine the content of the mortar critically for the foreign particles. If these are present, stain the suspension through the muslin piece into a bottle. So and then add more of the vehicle to rinse the mortar and transferring the rinsing solution into the bottle. So add any liquid ingredients if there means at this time. After that, add more of the vehicle to produce the required volume. So that is how we will prepare the suspension here. Let us see one example here. So in this formula, it has a potassium iodide, tincture of lobelia ether, tincture of strontium, chloroform water. Okay, prepare a mixture. That is the formula given here. So direction for use is 1 dessert spoonful to be taken 4 times a day. So how to dispense this suspension means first mix 23 ml of the Tragacan mucilage with 22 ml of the chloroform water here. After that, measure 8 ml of the tincture of lobelia ether and 16 ml of the tincture of strontium in a dry measure and then pour slowly into the center of the mucilage with a continuous stirring. Okay, after that, dissolve the potassium iodide in the 23 ml of the chloroform water and then mix it thoroughly with the above mixture. Okay, and then stain it if necessary through a muslin piece and then add more of the chloroform water to produce the 90 ml. So and then transfer to a bottle, label it properly and then dispense. Okay, and next one is the suspensions produced by chemical reactions. So in this type of preparations of suspensions, the highly diluted solutions of the reactants are mixed together so as to form a very finely divided precipitates that can be easily distributed throughout the liquid by shaking. Okay, so the precipitates so formed are diffusible in nature, hence there is no need of adding any suspending agent here. So let us see one example for this. In this, it has a sulfurated potash, zinc sulfate, concentrated camphor water, make a mixer. So direction for use is to be directed as directed by the physician here. So method of preparation, first dissolve the sulfurated potash and zinc sulfate separately into a small quantity of water and then add the sulfurated potash solution slowly to the zinc sulfate solution with a constant stirring here and then transfer to a tiered bottle. Add a camphor water with vigorous shaking to redissolve the precipitate camphor and then mix it well. Add more of the water to make up to 90 ml and then transfer to a bottle, label and dispense. Okay, this is how we have to dispense the suspension here. So containers used for the suspensions. So the suspension should be packed in a container which are having an adequate airspace above the liquid to permit the adequate shaking process. Okay, so the overall suspension should be packed in a wide mouth bottles to permit prompt removal of the suspension. Okay, such type of containers are needed to be preferred for dispensing of the suspensions here. And the next one is labeling. So the container having a liquid suspensions must be labeled with a secondary label. Shake well before use. In case of dry suspension powders, the specified amount of the vehicle to be mixed may be indicated clearly on the label here. Okay, and then storage. The suspension should be stored in a cool place but should not be kept in a refrigerator here. Freezing at a very low temperature should be avoided, which may leads to aggregation of the suspended particles here. Okay, according to IP, we need to store the suspensions. And the next one is the stability of the suspensions. A stable suspension can be redispersed homogeneously with a moderate shaking and can be easily poured throughout its shelf life. Here, the most stable pharmaceutical suspensions are calculated one, that is the suspended particles are bonded together physically to form a loose semi-rigid structures here. The suspended particles are said to be uphold each other while exerting no significant forces on the liquid. So the sedimented particles of a fluctuated suspensions can be redispersed easily at any time with only moderate shaking. Okay. The non-fluctuated suspensions can be made stable by decreasing the particle size of the suspended materials or by increasing the density and viscosity of the vehicle here. So let us see the evaluation of the stability of the suspensions. There are so many methods are commonly used for evaluating the physical stability of the suspensions here. What are their means? Sedimentation method, micrometric method, rheological methods and electrokinetic methods. We will see one by one clearly. First start with the sedimentation method. The measurement of the sedimentation volume is the most important parameter in the evaluation of the stability of the suspensions here. It is determined by keeping in a measured volume of the suspensions in a graduated cylinder in a undisturbed position for a defined period of time and noted the ultimate height of the sediment and initial height of the total suspension here. So the sedimentation volume F is the ratio of the ultimate height and the initial height HU by HO. So the sedimentation volume can be plotted against the time. So the graph indicates the sedimentation pattern of the suspension on stories here. So a stable suspension show a horizontal or a less steep curve. The evolution of the redispersibility can also be determined by shaking the suspension and again find out the sedimentation volume. Okay, that is HU by HO. So this is how we will determine the sedimentation rate. Next one is the micrometric method. So the stability of the suspensions depends on the particle size of the dispense phase here. The size of the particles in the suspension may be grow and may ultimately leads to the formation of a lumps or caking for some type of suspensions. So any change in the particle size with reference to the time will provide you useful information regarding the stability of the suspension here. So a change in the particle size, distribution and crystal habit may be studied by microscopy and a counter methods. So by using such type of methods we will determine the particle size here. And the next one is the rheological method. So the viscosity of the suspension is studied at different times intervals by using a good quantity of a viscometers. It provides useful information about the stability of the suspension here. And the next one is the electrokinetic method. So the determination of the surface electric charge or zeta potential of the suspension is helpful to find out the stability of the suspension here. Certain zeta potentials produce more stable suspensions because of the control fluctuation here. So the zeta potential can be calculated from the migration velocities of the particles measured by electrophoretic methods. Okay. So this is all about the suspensions. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel for more videos.